Right then, I'm in the rugby verse this week, and you appear to be in a box. Where are you, mate?
Literally a shoebox. I am in London. I stayed the night. It was my cousin's birthday, so I came down, Tom Croft as well, and my wife and a group of us, and we had a cracking night. I'm feeling a little bit affected from the celebrations this morning, but all was worth it. And nothing a decent coffee and some paracetamol can't sort me out. So it was a good day to celebrate. But yes, I am, in fact, in a hotel room that is extremely tight and cushy. But hey ho, the pod goes on, mate. So you're representing in the rugby verse, and I'm representing in a shoebox.
Yeah, I hear you. Mate, you look all right considering you've been out. Hair's done. Makeup's done.
Shower, mate. A little shower, little quick coffee, and it's and away I go. So no, all good, mate. All good. I'll plough on through. So, mate, let's get into it. So obviously Wales, South Africa. I said it isn't going to be a PG. It's going to be an 18X rated, and we weren't far too wrong. So Wales 12, South Africa 45, and pretty dominant from the box. I've got some sage insights here, and there's a couple of metrics that literally stand out. It's actually mind-blowing. So tackle breaks, Wales did 6, South Africa 46 tackle breaks, Tone. I mean, straight away, you ain't setting yourself up to win a game when you're missing that many. We know the running threat that South Africa pose and the power play, but that is an enormous amount of tackles to fall off. Jack Morgan, to be fair to him, he made 28 tackles. He must be so incredibly sore after that game. But that is too many, and at this level, you can't fall off that many. You can't allow a team to have 46 tackle breaks.
I mean, that is the most lopsided stats I've ever seen. When you compare tackle breaks with metres carried, and you look at them, 6 to 46, 213 to 1,065. I mean, that is so berserk. I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, that's the metres, isn't it? That's the metres gain, that one there, Tone, isn't it? Wales were 213 and South Africa 1,065 metres carried.
Like 5 times the metres gained is in international rugby is berserk. And I know that we said it was going to be lopsided before the game started. I think, realistically, not the players, but I think the majority of Welsh fans knew that this one was going to be fairly lopsided. So, the scoreline doesn't surprise me, but the stats make for some awful, awful viewing. I think just on the tackle breaks one, I think 46 is horrific to concede and fall off that many tackles, but then to only expose South Africa to 6 yourself is also just as concerning. So normally you've got one side of the stats and you can be like, okay, the defence was, we need to sort out our hits and sticking tackles. But when you've also got the attack that's not breaking any tackles, it's tough. Like, I don't really know where to... It's like, attack's not working, defence isn't working. Where do we go from here? I thought Rio Dyer's try was out of nothing. Kind of, they were building pressure, and then Rio Dyer made something happen. Outside of that, I just think it's. I don't want to be too exaggeratedly aggressive towards the players, but it was a tough watch, and I feel for Wales at the moment. I think Gatland actually summed it up, to be fair, in his interview afterwards, where he said that it seemed that Wales have had a great few generations of players, and when the dam finally burst, it was going to take them a few years to get back on top. And I think that is it in a nutshell, to be honest with you. That's where it looks like from the outside.
He is the most informed, or knows the understanding of the systems and everything like this. They've had the overseas rules and the cap rules and everything like that. He knows how the systems worked, and he's right. They've had a golden generation for a number of years, and right now, like he says, once a dam burst, you're trying to bring through these youngsters that aren't quite ready for test match rugby. You haven't got enough experience to play alongside them. I think I saw a stat, South could used over 50 players this calendar year, and when you look at it, they've only lost 2 games. The 2 games they lost was Ireland by drop goal right at the end of the game, and they lost to Argentina away, which was when obviously Marnie Lebok missed a kick right at the end to win it. So, and they've used 50-odd players, but they've always drip fed them in with experienced players, so it's allowed to, like, the knockoff isn't huge. Wales can't use that. They haven't got the ability to do that. But to go a calendar year losing every game is really bleak, and we'll touch on that a bit more in a second. But back to the game. Franco Mostert, oh my gosh, 15 carries, mate. He played very well. Mate, he went straight through the guts for the first try. Eben Etzebeth also got a try. The locks were raining in the tries. Last week was all about Cheslin Colby, and although he was still doing his thing, Kurtley Arendse, oh my gosh, mate, it was about him this week. So making things happen, but he came off. We saw Cheslin's right foot step last week, and we saw Kurtley's left foot step this week, mate, and his pace and ability to score. Like, again, we harp on about these guys and the threat that they pose, but you just can't give these guys space to operate because they just punish you. He did a lovely little 1-2 as well with Eben Etzebeth as well up the left ledge. But look, mate, they've. If you're South Africa right now, having used over 50 players, having won all their games in the autumn, having not really had to play to their full potential, have they really? Against Scotland and against England, I felt like they're both cruising. Against Wales, it was almost like it was a formality for them. Like no one expected Wales to compete, and they didn't really. And South Africa run riot with some of those stats. So, calendar year, South Africa's been very impressive and continue to be world leading in terms of what they're doing and what Razzie's doing there for Wales. As Gat said, mate, I think you're absolutely right. I quite enjoyed watching the Hendricks brothers playing halfback together. So obviously myself and Tom, but obviously your brothers played as well. You never played with Marcus, have you, Ant?
I haven't, mate. No. The first time we were actually meant to play together, it was the A-League. Back in the good old days of the A-League. I was obviously at London Irish, and we played Bath away. And after about 50 minutes, I took my tracksuit off, started warming up, thinking this is the moment I get to, play with my brother. Dreamt about this, albeit in the A-League for years. Next thing you know, coach says, Anthony, you're coming on for Marcus. Okay.
Oh my God, that was the one shot as well. And he subbed
that, exactly.
And he subbed Marcus off for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cruel. Who was the coach? Name him. It wasn't Boothie, was it? Who was it? Hats?
It could have been Boothie. Could have been Boothie or Hats.
Was it Boothie? Oh, that is just not. That's not play on from them. That is not play on from them.
He must have been having a stinker, mate. So they had to get him gone.
Oh dear. Well, the Hendricks brothers, obviously 9 and 10. So that was quite an interesting dynamic to see how that unfolds. Obviously, I've played with Tom, but that's different because when you're actually a 9-10 axis, to actually have that dialogue and sort of, I suppose, synergy, but you could argue, you could fall out. One wants to call a certain play, the other wants to call another play. Like one wants to get out of the scrum, the other one doesn't want to get out of the. There's so many, there must be so many times where you just want to shout at each other and fall out. Luckily, I never had that issue with Tom being a hooker and me being a 9.
But still, even at hooker, you must have been a bit closer to that than other positions. There must have been moments in games where you had to discuss tactics between yourself and Tom.
Yeah, there's been moments where we probably have done that. There's certainly been moments, mate, where in scrums where I've put the ball in and he's popped up and be like, don't ever put the ball in if that's happening. As he's basically getting it's like the scrum is under that much pressure, and he's like, please don't ever put me in that situation again. It's like, oh yeah, understood. So it's more those conversations that I hear you. Coley does that to me as well sometimes. Please don't put it in. If you see this happen, don't put it in, please.
So it's you stitching the lads up, not...
Yeah. There's been times where I've banged the ball in and not recognised they've lost a hit or and all these different bits, and you've shoved it in and they're getting dealt one and trying to strike for it, and I'm just like, yeah, come on, lads, sort it out. Come on, what's going on there? Which hooker's a mental position when you think about it, mate. You're scrummaging with both hands behind your back, mental. But yeah, I've obviously always enjoyed playing with my brother. But it was interesting just to see that dynamic yesterday. They obviously played together at the Sharks, but the first time they've done it together in the Springboks jersey, so special day for them. So I'm sure that's one they will always remember.
Yeah, in fairness, I thought both of the lads looked good. I think they probably had a little bit more synergy than myself and Marcus, so fair play to them.
Now back to Wales. So the WRU are going to do a review of their autumn, so that should be pretty fun for them. Wales' next fixtures. So let's just just delve into this for a second. So they're going to play France away, Italy away, Ireland at home, Scotland away, and then England at home. Like, they could actually potentially lose all of those. And the thing is I think some people are obviously going to say that Gatland should go and they should be changing all that, but it's like, who do you bring in? Like, it's the Six Nations starts the first weekend of February. You've got 2 months to do a review, figure out what's going on. It's never just one person's at fault. And who's going to come in? You've got 2 months to find someone to come in. And you might get a reaction straight away out of the squad. I'm not sure. We can only see from the outside, but I don't know. I mean, the review will be interesting because let's see what it comes out with, and see what the aftermath of that is. But you look at those fixtures and you're looking at it, I'm thinking if they carry on where they're at, I don't really know where they pick up a win in the Six Nations.
Yeah, I think, mate, to be honest with you, I still feel like Wales should be a better side than Italy, to be honest with you. I don't think they actually have... Well, you compare 15 to 15, I think that on paper, I still feel like Wales should beat Italy. Now, there's more obviously to it than teams on paper, and I think Wales are going to have to spend the next 2 months, or whoever's coaching Wales, trying to recreate an identity or a way that they can get the upper hand against teams. But if they do that, I still feel like they have better players than Italy. So I think that with a game plan that's implemented around their strengths, I think they should beat Italy. But the other games, I mean, France away, I don't know. New Zealand even struggled there, obviously losing by a point. Ireland at home, I think that's even a game that Wales have notoriously struggled in. Ireland, I think they went and beat them there 2 years ago. Scotland away, tough place to play, and England at home, 0% chance. So I have just realised I have not learned from your statements, and now I've gone in and said England's 0% chance. So if they do that...
I hear what you're saying about Wales as a better team as Italy. So you think the drought could end at 13 matches. I'm looking at thinking Italy did okay actually against New Zealand yesterday, and although they had a bad start to the All-Women series, they certainly last Six Nations saw huge improvement once again. So... they either end the drought against Italy, but if they don't end the drought against Italy, I almost feel like it's then just much more of the same, because that's the one game where you're looking at currently where you're going to put all your eggs into that basket. You're going to absolutely go for it. And if you don't then manage to do it, like, the knock-on effect emotionally, like confidence-wise, like, is catastrophic. And then by the end, the back end of the tournament, they're probably just wishing for it to end, because it's just been like it's just like a run of just terrible results. So that Italy game becomes absolutely pivotal. In my opinion, but it can swing either way. You're saying it could end, and I think it could do, but equally, if it doesn't, emotionally, I feel like they're then done.
Yeah, definitely. I think you are right what you say about playing at the Principale, especially against England in a one-off. It becomes a lot more of a level playing field given the emotional intensity of that fixture, but I don't know. I just can't see Wales losing to Italy. I know it's away, but I don't know. When you've had a run of losses that long, you continue to find intensity somewhere, especially against the teams where you feel like, right, we should win this definitely, and they'll definitely be looking at that game like we should 100% win, and that's no disrespect to Italy. If they win that game, I think they lose to England at home. If they lose that game, the England game at home becomes the next one that's circled. And that's nothing to do with England being in a comparable position to Wales or Italy, because in my opinion, they're not at all. But like I said, the emotional intensity of that singular game just means that they're probably going to look at that and think, right, we can go for this one. I don't think the Scotland game doesn't have the same intensity as England-Wales, in my opinion. And maybe I say that as an Englishman who's played in Wales numerous times, never been able to experience Murrayfield as a Welshman or vice versa. So difficult to comment, but that game just feels very isolated and special, to be honest.
If you're watching on YouTube, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and you'll never miss a video as they constantly come out. Now, moving on to Ireland. So they won 52 points to 17 against Fiji.
Yeah, mate. What about Sam Prendergast's first start at 10? I think Bundyaki summed it up in his comms after the game, and it looked very much like that from watching on TV. But he does look like one of those players again, like a Henry Slade, like a I don't want to compare him to Dan Carter because that's not fair. But these guys who have just got time on the ball, George Ford is another one. Guys who have got time on the ball, make things happen, never look rushed, and he looked like that. I know it came with a few mistakes, and I'm sure we'll get onto that high tackle in a second. But he looked like someone who's going to be around for a long time. And Jack Crowley, I think that Ireland are now in a good position with 10s after obviously Johnny Sexton's retirement. People were starting to panic and kind of be concerned around that pivotal position on the pitch. But it looks like they've got that one pretty nailed down in terms of two viable, good international options.
Yeah, look, I think for a 21-year-old, he definitely showed a lot of composure. He had a nice maturity to his game. He didn't look flustered. The only time he was flustered was when he got yellow carded. And when you're sitting there after that challenge, you are probably thinking, oh my gosh, is this going to be upgraded to a red? Because he did catch the Fijian winger with his shoulder. But other than that, mate, other than that sort of moment of panic, which I'm sure he had, and his family were probably sitting there as well going, oh no, what's happened? It was good to see him have such a maturing game. Like, as a 21-year-old, mate, Fiji's a difficult game. Like, it's underestimated how difficult that is because they're very, very physical. But Fiji are dangerous. They can cause you problems. Like, they can spot tackle you and put you under pressure as a halfback. And I just thought he had a nice, mature and feel to him, exactly as you said, Ant. I totally agree with you. I actually enjoyed watching Ireland. I thought there's sort of bits of Ireland of old. I thought their variation around lineouts were very impressive. Even their first try for Caelan Doris, like the rollout, come around the corner, then back inside to Caelan Doris. They had another one where they went down the front back end of the game, where they come in and Doris goes down the front, plays the hooker. I just saw some snippets of really clever, structured plays that you often associate Ireland with, and I was able to see that. I thought they were pretty. What's the word? I suppose professional in the way that they put Fiji away, because Fiji are a good team, but they're also difficult to put away. But they did a very professional job. The
well-oiled machine is back. I couldn't agree more. I think that, like you said, the tap play against Fiji, with them looking to constantly be aggressive, I thought that was a great bit of coaching smarts or player smarts, if it came from the players, to kind of expose them in that way and then go down the short side and get one over. And then the other play that I really liked was actually Sam Prendergast. It looked shades of Johnny Sexton with the wraparound play to get an edge, but looked so calm doing it. It just looked like he's watched Johnny Sexton do this for years, and it looked like he's done that 100 times as well. And so those were two things that kind of stood out for me. And yeah, it's really interesting to see what they'll do now. I think both next week against Australia, but also going forward to the Six Nations, because obviously Andy Farrell goes away with the Lions after the Australia game. So how much input is he going to have on who the 10 is and what the role of them is going forward? Are they having one eye on the longer term future, or are they, wanting to win now? It becomes interesting. So I've got no idea. I think that they roll with Sam Prendergast next week against Australia personally. But it'll be really interesting to see what they do.
The game actually finished with Conor Murray on the wing, hooker Gus McCarthy at flanker, and Caelan Doris in the midfield there, mate. Maybe that's a looking at the future of moving people around and going for a 7-1 split or something like that Ireland are looking at. But hey ho, so they got a professional job done.
Sorry, Len, that's just reminding me of a funny story actually, where, do you remember the Italy game in the Six Nations where I ended up in the back row?
Yeah.
Right, I remember we had a scrum 5 metres out against Italy, and Maro being Maro, I think the game was pretty much sealed at this point, and we were walking over to the scrum, and Maro was giving me my directions of what to do, where to be, and I said to Maro, mate, I'm going at 8 here. I want to pick and go off the base. And he looked at me and said, shut up and scrummage. I was like, oh, okay, cool. No jokes on the pitch. Fine.
Oh, crack on, mate. That's stick to the wing tone or fullback. And the other results, of course, was New Zealand beating Italy in Turin. Mate, what laser show again? Like the whoever did the laser show in Paris and obviously in Turin, like they need to be full time. They're like the way that the hacker's gone down. It's like I'm loving it, mate. I'm loving it. Sort of build up and very different outcome to what it was in the World Cup, because in the World Cup New Zealand absolutely pulled Italy's pants down, and it was a shocking result, to be fair. Italy was a lot more about them. New Zealand have gone on the end of their season now, but two players are actually finishing. So Sam Cane, and he's now finished his last test for the All Blacks, and of course TJ Perenara was his last game for the All Blacks. And having played against TJ a lot of times, and Sam Cane, to be fair, you know, both guys have done a lot for the All Blacks. So you know they move aside and go on to whatever's next. But one thing about TJ Perenara, mate, is he's been pretty resilient. So, you know, Aaron Smith was obviously like absolute wizard of a 9, and Perenara brought something different in terms of his physical game and the way that he played it. But a lot of people won't know that he came back from a double ruptured Achilles, which is something that you've done, Ant. And I suppose that resilience to come back from something like that is very, very difficult. Something that you're way better placed than I am to talk about it. But you know, he's come back from a double rupture there as a 9. So fair play to him, like coming back from that, then playing international rugby again. So I tip my hat to both those guys.
I think, you know, most rugby players have some form of serious injury throughout their career, but the two that you've explained are probably right at the end of the scale in terms of, right, this might end your career here and now, in terms of TJ Perenara's Achilles, but also Sam Cane's neck. Like, he broke his neck in South Africa.
Yes.
So both of those guys have had to come back from insane injuries because of their love for rugby and for representing the All Blacks. So, you know, it's one thing to come back from an injury and continue playing club rugby. It's another thing to come back to where you were before, represent your country, and continue to be one of the best players in your position in the country, if not the world. So I think you're right, it is testament to those guys' character for them to be able to do that. But I think they've just been special players for the All Blacks, and I think that particularly Sam Cane is one that probably won't be as appreciated as he probably should be until he's gone, because I think he's been a serious servant for the All Blacks. He's always flown under the radar, never done anything, you know, crazy, jeopardised anything, just looks like a typical put the team before yourself type guy, and credit to him for that.
Finally, mate, France on Friday night against Argentina. Argentina almost did exactly what they did against Ireland the week before, which was first half of rugby, like just didn't get it right at all, and then came back to France a little bit in the second half. But France were pretty dominant, mate. The French are back. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Their scrum creaked a little bit back end of the game, which won't please, I suppose, the French fans, because they love a good old scrum. And that was a little bit of a chink in their armour. But the other bits, Dupont back out there making things happen. Again, they did a peel of the line out. I'm liking these variations, mate, with these dummy mauls and these peels, and then like having these runners coming underneath and short. So he did all that. But then the one guy that we have to talk about, the one try that we should just mention, is Louis Barry's try again, or I like to call him is just, I don't know, Speedy Barry. Speedy Barry grubbers it and absolutely pelts it, mate. And oh my gosh, this guy is, you forget how young he is. I think he's like 21, or he's 21, I think he is. Like he's electric tone. He's so quick. So have a watch of that if you can. Did you see it, Ant, mate? The wheels, mate. It's 2 weeks in a row. Absolute jet shoes.
I did, mate. My nickname for him is Knuckles because of that red scrum hat.
Oh, of course,
He is proper, mate. You know, and I think that you'll have seen it, Len, across the years. There's people who are fast and who just get away with, you know, getting the ball, running across the pitch and scoring tries, or scoring tries that, you know, all you need is flat out speed. I think to combine speed with skill is a lot more rare, and to do it at 21 years old, he looks pretty special. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to catch the ball where he's caught it after the phase that's gone before, which is a little bit messy, a little bit, you know, here, there, everywhere in typical French style, and then literally catch it, take a step, maybe two, drop it on your left foot in between two defenders and ghost around them and score. I think that was like the speed in which it all happened to me showed like, okay, this guy's like a deadly, deadly finisher. He's not just a rapid youngster who isn't afraid to take people on. He's got a full bag of tricks, and to do that at home against a tough Argentina team, like I said, that quickly in terms of decision-making time, I thought is very special. The other thing I loved about the French was, Dupont, and this is where you'll come into your element, Len, is in and around the ruck, mate. Dupont picking up, finding people back on the inside, on the open, but Nolan Le Garrec as well, when he came on, doing the same thing. It's a very French style to create space in areas where it looks like there's none. But when you've got a pack like they've got, and you've got magicians at 9, like they've got the 2 there, it looks like that's how they get a little bit of go forward when they get unstuck, and they never seem to fail.
Yeah, because they're both running threats themselves and so strong in that area, they get big forwards and they just start picking around the ruck, lifting little lifts, and he gets out, nuts forward runner, speed of ball, tightens up the D, mate. It's a French tack, but they're very, very good at it. And it's just good to see the French are back. I felt I had a mellow after the World Cup, but I feel like they're back, so happy days. Tone, mate, thanks for the autumn series. The hell of a shift from you, sir. That concludes our roundup. But, mate, thank you very much. Comment below, let us know your thoughts. Please like and subscribe. And thank you so much. We'll also drop another video tomorrow where we'll be talking about, of course, England versus Japan and Australia versus Scotland. So 2 crackers there. That will come out tomorrow. So, Ant, thanks very much. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in.